Question remains to be whether or not, yes, definitely, Kamala Harris is to be the official nominee from the Democratic Party as the presidential elections in the United States approach. With that, let's quickly take a look at Kamala Harris's profile. Who is Kamala Harris? All about her early life and education. To begin with, Kamala Harris was born in Oakland, California. And the person who's had a significant influence in her life, especially in her interest in public service, is her Indian grandfather, P.V. Gopalan, who guided her through her interest in public service. In fact, Harris earned her bachelor's degree at the Harvard University in 1986. And post that began her career and political journey. Now, if we take a look at it, it began roughly around 1990. She joined the Alameda County District Attorney's Office back in 1990. Then, one of her major milestones in her career was from 2004 to 2010, when she was the San Francisco District Attorney. She gained national attention for efforts to overturn California's ban on gay marriage and advocated for legal recognition of same-sex marriages. These were two areas which she heavily fought upon, which brought attention to her back then. Then next up in 2016, Harris was elected to the US Senate. 2019 is when she began her campaign for the US presidential elections. She raised $1.5 million in just 24 hours. However, in December 2019, she had suspended her campaign as it fell apart due to different reasons, mostly infighting within the party having been one of the key reasons. Post which, Biden locked her nomination for vice president but didn't guarantee the role to her as of then. Harris sailed through in the debate for the vice presidential role up against Mike Pence. November 2020, Harris elected as the first female vice president of the United States of America. Since then, she's been a faithful partner to President Joe Biden throughout his term. This is the profile of Kamala Harris, who in fact may be the official nominee of the Democratic Party as Joe Biden drops out. Now, let's take a look at what do supporters of Harris have to say. Supporters of Harris, who's the first woman and the first woman of color and South Asian person to serve as the vice president, argue that she has already weathered unfair attacks related to her race and gender and is prepared for more. Let's take a look at what she says.
The Democratic Party will be taking a historic gamble if it turns to Vice President Kamala Harris to become its presidential candidate.
Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America?
It would be betting that a black woman can overcome racism, sexism, and her own missteps as a politician to defeat Republican Donald Trump. The focus turns to Harris after President Joe Biden, in a historic move, ended his re-election campaign on Sunday as fellow Democrats lost faith in his mental acuity and ability to beat Trump. Minutes later, he endorsed Harris. All this leaves the presidential race in uncharted territory. In more than 2 centuries of democracy, American voters have elected only one black president and never a woman, a record that makes even some black voters wonder if Harris can crash through the hardest ceiling in U.S. politics.
Well, this here is the one. The most existential, consequential, and important election of our lifetime.
Harris would face other big challenges. If promoted to the top of the ticket, she would have barely 3 months to campaign and unite the party and donors behind her. Yet many Democrats are excited about her chances. At 59, Harris is 2 decades younger than Trump and a leader in the party on abortion rights, an issue which resonates with younger voters and Democrats' progressive base. Proponents argue she would energize those voters, consolidate black support, and bring sharp debating skills to prosecute the political case against the former president. In a hypothetical head-to-head matchup, Harris and Trump were tied with 44% support each in a July 15th and 16th Reuters Ipsos poll conducted immediately after the assassination attempt against Trump. Trump led Biden 43% to 41% in that same poll, though the 2 percentage point difference was within the poll's 3 percentage point margin of error. And Harris's approval ratings, while low, are a tick higher than Biden's. But despite earning praise in the last few weeks for her strong defense of Biden, some Democrats remain concerned about Harris's shaky first 2 years in office, short-lived campaign for the 2020 Democratic nomination, and, perhaps most of all, the weight of a long history of racial and gender discrimination in the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.